Welcome to the Communications and Media Studies Career Day, a collaboration between the Career Center and the Communication and Media Studies Department. My name is Mike Clark. I'm the Associate Director of Alumni Engagement here in the Career Center. And throughout the day, we have invited a number of alum to join us for conversations about their careers in order to give you an insight into different career paths, industries, and get advice on how to enter and thrive in these fields. These sessions will be recorded. Our guest today is Chandler Lutz. Welcome, Chandler.
Thanks for having me.
Chandler Lutz is a 2016 graduate from SJU with a double major in communications and business administration. Chandler currently works for CBS Philadelphia as a traffic anchor and reporter. Prior to CBS Philadelphia, Chandler worked at the Walt Disney Company in multi-platform programming and at Tribune Media as a reporter. Chandler, welcome back to Hawk Hill.
Excited to be back.
I have a list of 10 questions I'll be asking you, followed by a 10 to 15 minute Q&A from our listeners. Audience, feel free to write your questions in the chat box that will be shared with our guests during the Q&A at the end of the session. Let's get started. We're going to begin with a series of career-focused questions. First, Chandler, let's start with describing your current role, the core responsibilities, and what a typical day or week looks like for you.
Okay, that's a loaded question. Hi, everyone. Nice to virtually meet you all. Excited to be here. A little bit about what I do is I am the traffic anchor for our morning show. So I am on from 4:30 in the morning until 9 a.m. And about every 10 or so minutes, I go live throughout our morning show where I present the traffic. And then in between that time, I am gathering information, working with our systems, working with the producer to come up with the traffic rundown that I'm going to present live on air, and then I go in front of a camera. It's all ad-libbed. I have my graphics next to me, so sometimes that involves me in front of a green screen, me in front of the touch screen. But in addition to all my traffic duties, I'm also a morning news reporter, or just a news reporter in general. So I tell stories about people in our community. I find stories. I am live a lot of mornings at different businesses that we want to focus on, any big events happening in the city. So there's the long list of job duties that I say I would do on a daily basis.
When did you know that this was the career path that you wanted to pursue, and what led you to that decision?
If I were to backtrack, when I was in high school, I was really interested in singing, acting, entertainment side of the industry, and I pursued that for a little bit. And I moved to Los Angeles, did some independent films, did cut an album, singing, did all that. But my big thing was I wanted to go to college. I wanted to get a degree. And so I found St. Joe's because I'm from New Jersey. I'm a Jersey girl. And I fell in love with what St. Joe's had to offer. And it was close to home. And I had friends that went there. So I ended up going to St. Joe's, and it was really at St. Joe's that I found my love for what I'm doing now. It was down the street from, at the time, NBC, 6 ABC still there, and PHL 17, which is right down City Ave from you guys. So it was really there that I figured that, okay, this is kind of a different camera lens where I can be myself. I can still utilize all the camera work that I learned out in Los Angeles, but I can do it in a different way and become a reporter. And I just fell in love with it. Yeah.
What is the typical career path for an entry-level associate within your organization?
Oh, geez. I would say entry level, people will tell you, you get a job in a lower market, or you come from a communications or journalist major. I mean, I was a double major. I had business as well. And you kind of get a job at a lower market, you work your way up. I would say that that's it's working your way up. It's working in the field. It's doing everything. I mean, when I worked at PHL 17, I was a cameraman most days. I was an intern. I wrote scripts. I was a producer. And then you just kind of work your way up. And I think the one thing is that I said yes to everything. I never said no, especially when I was starting out, because that helped shape what I know today and what I've been able to use in my current position. And it's just working your way up. It's starting from the bottom. I mean, I'm sure you guys have heard that all day.
What do you enjoy the most about your profession, and what is something that you wish you could change?
I think I had always told myself that I never wanted to sit behind a desk. And that was even, before I decided to go into communications. I just never wanted to just have the same day over and over again. And every single day is different for me, no matter if, what's in the traffic world or what story I'm telling or who I'm meeting. So I think telling people stories and how creative I get to be with that and creativity in my live shots. I mean, yesterday I was at a business in South Philly because they were doing Girl Scout cookie inspired milkshakes. And I was there holding boxes of Girl Scout cookies, doing a quick tease. And it was just, it's on the fly. It's you got to be creative. You want to rope in your viewers to want to watch, your segment coming up. So I think all of that makes it really exciting for me. And I enjoy that. But I would say the opposite of that, what I would like to change is, if you know anything about the news industry, is it's 24/7. We work holidays, we work crazy hours. My alarm goes off at 2:30 in the morning. That's when I wake up. So yeah, that's definitely the hard part. It does not get easier waking up in the middle of the night.
What has surprised you the most about your career?
I think personally, it was just a trajectory and how I was able to move from station to station. A lot of people say that in news, you have to move somewhere far away from home. I never had to do that. I lucked out, and it was because of St. Joe's that I was able to stay in Philadelphia, and I've never left. So I went from PHL 17 to I was a producer for, just a few months at 6 ABC, and then I moved to CBS, where I've been really for the past 4 years. So I think that's the most surprising. Yes, I got lucky, but I also networked and I worked my way up.
I like to shift gears to focus on actions students need to take. I'd like to remind our listeners to post any questions you may have in the chat, and they'll be shared during our Q&A. So I'm going to ask you about internships in a moment, in a moment, excuse me. But for now, what are 2 to 3 experiences would you suggest students should engage in while in college to help them prepare for entering a field upon graduation?
I would say, besides networking, utilize the alumni network. I know you have a lot of alumni at St. Joe's, and a lot of them are local too. So that means that you can meet up with them, get coffee with them. I mean, just this past week, I had a girl DM me on Instagram. She was still in high school, but she was interested in the industry. And the way our schedules worked out, she was actually able to come in and shadow me for a day. And that was all because she just reached out to me. I didn't know her. She was just from a connection. She networked, and that's how that happened. So I think that utilizing the network and just being in contact with people, go on LinkedIn, find what people are doing, go on social media. I think that that's really helpful, but also I think the Career Center too. The Career Center really helped me in getting my resume together. And I went back and forth with a lot of, the people in the office there. And that was super helpful when I was just starting out, trying to figure out, how do I go into an interview? What do I make my resume look like? I think that was super helpful that I don't think a lot of my friends at the time really utilized. And so I reaped those benefits.
How did you find your first job or internship?
I looked down the street. I was like, what's local? What can I do while I'm still in school? So I got my first internship at PHL 17 when I was this summer going into my senior year. And it was so nice because it was local that I was able to continue my internship into the school year. So because it was right around the corner, it worked out. And so I think that, yeah, it was honestly the location of St. Joe's that I got my first internship.
Nice. Can you share 1 or 2 interviewing tips, either from the perspective of someone who recruits for your organization or lessons you've learned from your own interview experiences?
So I've never been on the other side of interviewing just because of my job, but I would say just during my interviews, I think that there's only so much you can prepare for. And then when you go into the interview, it's just being yourself. it's a two-way street. You have something to offer just as much as they have something to offer you. And you need to remember that. And it also needs to be the right fit for you, not just the right fit for them. And you need to remember that. So it's asking the questions that you really want to know about. It's just being yourself and being honest. I think you can lie your way through an interview, but what's that going to do for you when you're actually in the job? So I would just say, just be as real as possible.
Your St. Joe's education included as Keystone Social Justice and Ethics. How has this impacted how you work and or the career decisions you made to date?
I think it's so intertwined with the viewpoint of every story that we tell. It dictates what stories we tell, how we cover them. If we're telling it from everybody's viewpoint, I think that's it's so important. And there's some stories that come up and we're like, should we tell this? Is this something that people need to, want to know? Are we getting everybody's perspective here? Because, with news, a lot of it can be one-sided. So it's every story that we have to look at and evaluate and make sure we're giving a clear, unbiased picture.
What types of internships should students try to secure to prepare for a role like yours in your industry?
So I wouldn't necessarily go my route because I started in the sales department of PHL 17 before I moved into news. And that was just because I was a entrepreneurial business major first, and then I picked up communication. So it was literally because of one of my general ed classes at St. Joe's that I ended up finding communications to begin with. So that was really awesome. But when it comes to internships, especially in this field, apply to be a news apprentice, apply to work in the newsroom. You can even internships at networks in New York, in LA. I think that gets you in the door. And then, excuse me, I have this awful cold. Yeah, it gets you in the door. And I think networking also helps, or working in a network, because you're meeting people. And then if you have to go, the route of actually being, you have to go to different stations across. It gets you in the door to network, which is awesome. Then you meet people. And then when you're actually getting a job, more doors are open.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Whew.
As we come to a close, I have two final questions. What is something that you wish someone had told you when you were in school? And what is a piece of advice you would give to students who are interested in this path?
I would say it's not linear. I mean, you don't have to, everybody's job and everybody's career path is so different. It's not like you have to do X, Y, Z. There's so many people that told me that I could never go into this industry if I didn't want to leave home. I figured it out. So I would just take everybody's opinion with a grain of salt and then do what you think's right for you. That's just the best piece of advice, because if I had just listened to what everybody told me to do, then I don't know where I would be now. So you just got to do what's right for you and take everybody's opinion, but then know that you have your own career path ahead of you.
Okay, well, thank you. Well, thank you so much. Now we're going to transition into the QA portion of the session. Students, if you have a question, please use the raised hand icon and I'll call on you. When it's your turn, please let our guests know your name and your year at St. Joe's University. So there's one in the chat box. This is from Alexa. I just applied to PHL 17 News intern. I'm sorry. Are you, Alexa, you there? You want to ask the question yourself?
Oh yeah, I will. Okay. I'm a sophomore and I did apply to Philadelphia 17, like the news intern. I applied, I want to say 3 weeks ago, maybe a month. And I just feel like it's not going through for some reason. I did talk to one person, but I was just wondering if you had like any like further ideas to make sure like everything went through smoothly, because I do want to get the internship.
Yeah, I would say, unfortunately, their news director, who was my first news director, just left, so I don't have his contact anymore. But have you like tried emailing? Like, did you go on their website and try emailing anybody that worked there to send your, your application to directly? Because I think that's like another part of utilizing the network. It's really finding, like doing your work, digging, see who works there, see who you can send it to. I mean, there's a lot of producers there. Did you find any, like, were you able to find anything like that? Because I think that even just sending an email out to even their info sometimes at, whatever the company is, could help
Right.
speed along the process.
So so there was like a spring internship
Okay.
and I applied to that late. So when I emailed one of the girls, which I did not know it was late, I think there was like a mess up on the actual internship when I was on LinkedIn.
Oh, geez.
And yeah,
Of course.
but I did reach out to a girl and she was like, we're in the summer, like apply for the summer now because
Okay.
we're transitioning into that. And then she kind of just like stopped responding. I did actually just call before I got on the Zoom and no one like picks up the phone.
Hmm.
So
What I would
yeah,
say
I'm
is-
in a very sticky situation.
Yeah. And you said you're a sophomore.
Yeah.
So
I'm in communications. I wrote for the Hawk. So do you know who Dr. Spinner is?
no.
So she like manages the Hawk. She's really
Okay.
amazing. So I did do like a lot of journalism work. So
Okay. Yeah, no, it seems like you definitely have, you've started your resume there. So I think that luckily you do have time on your side. Not that that's saying you should lay off, but keep emailing them, keep finding contacts there, and make sure that you're letting them know like your efforts. And I think the more and more your name comes up, the more top of mind you are. So it can only help, in my opinion, to just keep sending those emails, keep, whoever you were emailing. Hey, so-and-so, just want to check in. Like, I see you have a new internship coming up. I just want to let you know, like, I'm still really interested, and just keep finding people, LinkedIn, connect with anybody who works there type thing. I think that could all really help advance you and hopefully get you their internship.
great. Thank you.
Of course, good luck.
Thanks.
Thank you for the question. Any other questions? I have one. How would somebody, whether here in this audience or outside of here, be able to connect with you and for an informational interview to build a professional network?
Yeah. Honestly, social media is a huge part of my job. So I'm on everything, you name it. It's kind of wild. It's really such a part of it. We use LinkedIn, of course, but that's more of like the business mind in me that I use LinkedIn, but it's Twitter, it's Instagram, it's Facebook, it's DMing, can give you my email too. But honestly, I just prefer a DM or something like that. It's probably the best way to get in touch.
Okay. Any other questions at this point? Okay, so that will conclude our Q&A portion. Please join me in thanking Chandler for joining us today and providing such great insight into her career. Chandler, we're grateful, so grateful for your time, and hope to see you back on Hawk Hill soon. Viewers, just as a reminder, this session is recorded and will be available for viewing on YouTube in about a week. So hope everybody has a great day. And Chandler, again, thank you so much for your time and energy. I hope you feel better soon.
Thanks for dealing with my coughing, but no, thank you guys so much for having me. And if you have any questions that you want to DM me and ask, I'm all open. I'm so happy to give back to St. Joe. So thanks.
Hear that? She's open for being contacted. So I would do that. I would get her in my network and follow up with her and keep her connected to what you're doing. that's a key to social media, right? You can keep informed what she's doing, as well as you want to keep her informed of what you're doing to help you build your brand out there. So again, thank you so much, everybody, for your time. And it's time to sign off. Take care.